Test. Are we? Yeah, we were live. Okay. Listen, you are tuning into an unsanctioned, completely unencrypted pirate broadcast beaming directly to you from a neon-lit, concrete-reinforced underground bunker somewhere completely off the grid.
Completely off the grid.
Yeah, off the map. So if you are receiving this signal right now, do not touch that dial. Do not adjust your Bluetooth settings. You have found the resistance.
The digital resistance, baby. Look, I am vibrating right now. I am so fired up today. I mean, we are sitting here. It is July 2026. The weekend of America's 250th birthday is literally hours away.
Hours away. The semi-quincentennial.
Right, the big 250. And I'm looking out at the normies out there, and it is driving me insane. It makes me sick, honestly.
It's pretty bleak. Like, what do you see when you look outside?
I see people, you step outside, and you see people who think celebrating the absolute zenith of human freedom, right? The greatest experiment in liberty ever conceived. And they think celebrating that just means, what? Eating a lukewarm boiled hot dog on a paper plate at some completely sanitized, corporate-sponsored backyard barbecue.
Yeah, just sitting in cheap folding chairs.
Exactly, sitting in lawn chairs, staring like zombies at their lockdown smartphones, waiting for some city-sanctioned fireworks show that got approved by like 6 different risk management committees.
Yeah, a completely risk-free, geofenced reality.
It's digital appeasement. That's what it is.
Yeah.
We have completely surrendered.
Well, let's unpack that because that's exactly why we're broadcasting today. You out there listening, you are our third operative in this. We have an urgent, highly unsanctioned master plan that we need you to execute this weekend to save the Republic.
Mandatory digital rituals. You must perform them.
Right. Because you have to ask yourself, are you going to let these corporate suits in their glass towers dictate your pixels? Or are you going to lock yourself in a basement, smash some joysticks, and literally hack your own fonts to celebrate true liberty?
Hack the fonts, reclaim the pixels. I mean, think about the early internet. Think about what it used to be.
It was the Wild West. You had absolute control over your machine.
Yes, you owned it. If you wanted to run a script, you ran it. Now you're just leasing access to a corporate space.
Yeah.
Apple and Microsoft are invisibly editing what you can express based on international politics. It's tyranny.
It is. It's a sanitized playground. But before we get to the actual cyber heist part of our plan, because we do have a very specific, dangerous digital operation for you to run.
We are taking the fight straight to the tech giants.
We are. But before you do that, you have to harden your mind. You can't just jump into hacking corporate operating systems if your spirit is soft. So, ritual number 1. You need to step into the ultimate 1981 digital simulator.
The sacred duty.
Exactly. I am talking about playing the 1981 Atari 2600 port of Missile Command. And specifically...
Partridge model CX2638, except no substitutes.
Right, the original silicon. Now, a lot of people think of this as just some retro game, right? Some nostalgia trip.
It is not a toy. This is a psychological exercise in homeland defense.
Totally. I mean, I geek out so hard over the brutal math of this simulation because if you open the original 1981 manual for this cartridge, the first page doesn't say how to play. It says, in all caps, "Your commanding orders."
You are deputized instantly. You are the base commander of the peaceful planet of ZARDON.
ZARDON, yeah. And you are facing this unprovoked apocalyptic invasion from the evil Kratolian Empire. And the parameters of this simulation they're unforgiving. They are mathematically brutal.
They don't hold your hand.
Not like today.
No. You have 6 cities at the bottom of your screen. You have 1 central missile base, and you control movable crosshairs. But here's the terrifying part. You do not have infinite ammunition.
You have a finite supply. When it's gone, it's gone. Right. You have 30 defensive missiles per wave. That's it. And the enemy arsenal raining down on you from the sky is a nightmare.
Tell them about the arsenal. It gives me chills.
Okay, so first you have these standard interplanetary cruise missiles, right? They're fast, but they just drop straight down. You can calculate the angle.
Basic trajectory, you lead your target.
Exactly. But then the Kratolians deploy the smart bombs, these little glowing dots that actively evade your flak. If you shoot a defensive missile and it blooms into an explosion, the smart bomb will literally alter its trajectory, dodge your explosion, and keep heading for your city.
It actively hates you. It actively wants to destroy your home.
Yeah, and then it gets worse. Then they drop the MIRVs.
Multiple independently targetable reentry vehicles. Oh my God, the MIRVs.
A single warhead drops from the top of the screen. You think, okay, I got this one. You track it, and right before you fire, it fragments. It splits into 3 separate warheads, instantly darting toward 3 different cities.
You've only got like 2 defensive missiles left in your silo.
Right. And your shots take time to travel. There's travel time from your base to the crosshairs. So you're sitting there doing this horrifying triage math in your head.
Agonizing choices.
You literally have to look at the screen and consciously decide, I do not have the resources to save the left city. I have to let a million Zardonians die just to save the right city. You intentionally sacrifice them.
It is heavy. And
Right.
look, we have to talk about why this matters right now. Because you have to connect this pixelated violence to the actual visceral trauma of the Cold War.
Oh, for sure. This came out in 1981.
1981, Reagan is talking about the evil empire. We're watching ICBMs roll through Red Square on the evening news. Kids in school are having literal classroom debates about mutually assured destruction.
Même métier.
There was this blanket of just absolute suffocating helplessness, knowing the sky could open up at any second and end human civilization. And Missile Command took that helpless nuclear dread and flipped it.
Flipped it into pure agency.
Pure agency. I call it defiant optimism. Every single time you mash that red plastic button on your joystick and you watch that tiny magenta pixel travel up the screen and obliterate a Kryptonian nuke, you are screaming at the void, not today.
You're actively fighting back. It's a totally different psychological state.
It's the ultimate constitutional simulator. But modern games make me sick. They are the digital equivalent of a padded room.
Yeah, they coddle you.
They hold your hand. You fail a level, and the game secretly lowers the difficulty so you don't get your feelings hurt. Auto-aim, infinite health, regenerative shields. True patriotism requires brutal, unforgiving mechanics.
The limitation is the point. If you have infinite ammo, your choices don't actually matter. In Missile Command, when that last city gets vaporized, you don't get a try again screen.
No, you get a massive, flashing, apocalyptic the end. And this raw, synthesized buzzing noise that sounds like the world burning.
It feels like a profound national tragedy every time you see it. It makes you grip the joystick harder, hit reset, and vow to defend your homeland better next time.
But listen to me carefully out there. You cannot execute this sacred duty on garbage hardware.
No, absolutely not.
If you think you're going to just open up a web browser on your laptop and play some Flash version of Missile Command with your spacebar,
That's a disgrace to the simulation.
it's a disgrace.
Okay, so this brings us to segment 3 of our plan, the DIY war room. The hardware manifesto, because we are commanding you right now to build a hyper-specific, lag-free command center. And I'm going to geek out here for a second because the tech matters.
Nerd out hard, my friend. Give him the blueprint.
You need a dedicated microcomputer. Secure a Raspberry Pi 5, or a heavily tuned Pi 4 will work if you're desperate, but a Pi 5 is the target.
Why not just use a gaming PC? People are going to ask why they can't use their $3,000 rig.
Because modern Windows is doing 10,000 useless things in the background.
Yeah.
It's checking for software updates, it's pulling Bluetooth, it's running telemetry for Microsoft. That background noise creates microscopic fluctuations in processing time. You don't want a general-purpose machine, you want a dedicated defense terminal.
A dedicated defense terminal.
Beautiful. So you flash a clean, stripped-down operating system to an SD card, something like RetroPie. No bloatware. And then you install RetroArch.
Right.
But listen to me, you must load the Stella core.
The Stella core. It is the gold standard.
It is the undisputed, scientifically proven gold standard for authentic 2600 physics. Because it's not just making an approximation of the game, it is cycle accurate.
Cycle accurate emulation. Explain that because people don't get it.
Okay, the original Atari 2600 had alien hardware. It didn't even have a frame buffer to draw the image before showing it. It had 128 bytes of RAM, not megabytes, bytes.
Insane.
The processor had to literally race the beam of the television's electron gun, drawing the game line by line, split second by split second. The Stella core mathematically perfectly replicates this. If a smart bomb took exactly 14 machine cycles to move 1 inch in 1981, it takes exactly 14 cycles in your war room.
Mathematical perfection.
But the visual authenticity is just as important. Do not use smoothing filters. Modern smoothing algorithms are an absolute insult to the 1980s.
They smear the pixels. They make it look like a cheap oil painting. It destroys the brutalist architecture of the code.
Yeah, it takes a hard black pixel next to a bright magenta one and just blends a blurry gradient in between them so it looks softer on your 4K TV. No. You need to dive into the settings and force the machine into integer scaling.
Interscaling. Razor sharp.
Right, because you only multiply the original resolution by whole numbers, 1, 2, 3. So a 160 pixel wide image gets multiplied exactly by 6. No fractions, no shimmering, just brutal, jagged, perfectly square pixels.
You want to be able to count the pixels on the warhead as it drops on your city.
And turn on the CRT scan lines, activate the phosphor glow filter. You want that radioactive 1980s visual burn. It needs to look like an active radar console in a Cheyenne mountain bunker.
Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. But we have to talk about the secret weapon, the dark magic, because to me, input latency is an actual, literal national security threat.
Okay, yes. Let's talk about input latency, because people think a wireless Bluetooth controller is fine. They think a 50 millisecond delay is negligible.
It is not negligible. It's an eternity.
In Missile Command, 50 milliseconds is the difference between a blooming flak explosion and your city turning to ash.
Think about it. You press a button on a Bluetooth controller, it encodes the signal, it travels through the air, the Pi decodes it, the emulator processes it, your modern TV buffers the frame, processes the image, and finally lights the pixel. That delay breaks the connection between your human intent and digital reality.
Exactly. So here is the dark magic we're deploying. Inside RetroArch, you activate Runahead frames.
Time travel math.
Literally time travel math. You use the sheer processing power of that Pi 5 to secretly run multiple invisible instances of the game state simultaneously in the background.
It predicts the future.
Yeah, the emulator knows your TV inherently adds, say, 2 frames of lag. So when you hit fire, Runahead looks at its invisible future timeline, sees exactly where the explosion should be 2 frames from now, and forcefully overwrites your current screen with the future frame. It mathematically deletes physical input lag.
And you pair that with a zero-latency, hardwired USB trackball. No Bluetooth. Bluetooth is appeasement. You want absolute physical control. That is a constitutional right.
You feel the physical click of the microswitch, and on that exact millisecond, you hear the synthesized explosion. Total synchronicity.
That is the first ritual. You build the war room.
Yeah.
You hone your reflexes. You defend ZARDON. You prove to yourself that your will is ironclad.
Right, which means you are finally ready for segment 4. Because now that your spirit is trained, it is time for an offensive cyber heist.
The great emoji heist. Ah, this is where I lose my mind.
This is where we target the biggest tech companies on Earth, Microsoft and Apple.
The absolute cowards. We were talking about digital appeasement at the highest, most insidious level. They are stealing our flags.
Let's lay out the test. If you are sitting at a Windows PC right now, open a web browser. Try to type the American flag emoji.
Try it. Do it right now. What do you see?
You don't see a flag. You don't see waving stars and stripes.
No. You see 2 sad, boring, lifeless text letters, U and S.
Right. And you have to understand the tech behind why this is happening. There's this international body called the Unicode Consortium. They assign a mathematical code to every single character or symbol.
The script of the digital world.
Yeah. Unicode says, here is the code for the American flag. But Unicode doesn't draw the picture. It's up to Microsoft or Apple to design the actual font file that draws the graphic when that code is called.
Microsoft natively refuses to draw it. Their font, Sego UI emoji, actively sees the code for the flag and decides, nope, we're just going to render the letters U and S.
Why? Well, if you dig into their support forums, their official excuse is that rendering national flags forces them to take a political stance on disputed territories.
Disputed territories, they mean Taiwan.
They mean Taiwan. If Microsoft renders the flag of Taiwan, they risk infuriating the Chinese Communist Party.
And if they anger the CCP, they lose access to a billion-person market. They lose their cheap manufacturing supply chains. So instead of having a spine, instead of standing up for free expression, Microsoft just took the lazy, cowardly way out.
They took a blanket approach. They blocked all national flags, the US, France, Japan, Canada. They nuked the entire concept of national symbols from their operating system just so they wouldn't have to draw one specific flag.
Cowardice. They took their ball and went home to appease an authoritarian regime. But as angry as I am at Microsoft, Apple is even worse.
Oh, Apple's approach is straight up dystopian.
Dystopian is the right word. Microsoft was lazy, but Apple engineered a highly sophisticated, targeted censorship weapon directly into iOS.
Yeah, security researchers reverse engineered Apple's core foundation code, which runs the iPhone and Macs, and they found a literal hard-coded Boolean function. And the name of this variable is, I kid you not,
Say it.
is device in Greater China.
Right there in the code. Unbelievable.
It's tied to your GPS and region settings. If that function returns true, the operating system systematically and mathematically eradicates the Taiwan flag emoji from your keyboard.
It scrubs it from reality.
If a friend texts it to you, it just shows up as a missing character box, an invisible geographic fence. And starting with iOS 13.1, Apple quietly expanded that exact censorship function to devices in Hong Kong and Macau during the pro-democracy protests.
So your own device actively betrays you. You cross an arbitrary political line, and your hardware revokes your ability to express a symbol just to please a dictator.
So the question is, on America's 250th birthday, are we supposed to just accept this?
Absolutely not. No way. This is where you, the listener, come in. This is the heist. We're going to walk you through a highly dangerous, heroic cyber operation to liberate the pixels.
Step by step. Listen closely. You're going to bypass the official app stores completely. You're going to the digital underground. Navigate your browser to GitHub.
The last bastion of the digital frontiersman.
Search for a user named Casmical and a repository called Flag Emojis for Windows, or look up the Quarrel repo. These open source developers have custom engineered a payload.
Open source heroes. What they did is beautiful.
They took the Twomoji open source emoji set, which is full color and has every single flag, and they created a Trojan horse file. The payload is named segoit.ui.emoji.with.tmoji.flags.ttf.
TTF, true type font.
Right. It looks like a normal font file, but it contains injected SVG data, scalable vector graphics. It's not flat text, it's pure mathematical recipes for full color art.
So here are your tactical execution commands. Download that file to your desktop, but do not just double-click it. That won't work.
No. Hold down the Shift key, right-click that glorious TTF file, and when the hidden administrative context menu pops up,
Smash the option that says Install for all users. Smash it with the exact same kinetic force you used to destroy the Crotolian MIRVs in this simulator.
what that does mechanically is it forces the Windows registry to fundamentally alter the core operating system's typography table. You are literally commanding the machine whenever any program asks for the Sego font, bypass Microsoft entirely and use this file instead.
You are overwriting appeasement with pure code.
Yeah.
You're throwing the T in the harbor, but with typography.
After you hit install, initiate a full system reboot. Flush the RAM. Let the new registry keys take hold deep in the OS.
The victory lap. Describe the victory lap.
When your machine boots back up, open Chrome, open Edge, open your text editor, where you previously had those pathetic blank U and S text characters. Oh, boom! They instantly explode into beautiful, full-color, waving flags.
It's a digital victory. You literally hacked a multi-trillion-dollar corporation's operating system to bypass international censorship. Screenshot that flag, frame it on your wall.
And it works system-wide. You liberated the pixels. But look, I know what some people out there are thinking. They're listening to us scream about Raspberry Pis and font registries, and they're saying, this is absolute madness. You guys are unhinged. Why go to all this trouble for a 45-year-old arcade game and a tiny picture of a flag?
Let them call us unhinged. Because this brings us to the grand finale. Segment 5, baby. There is a unified theory to all of this, a massive theory of American exceptionalism.
The constitutional synthesis.
These two rituals, the war room and the emoji heist, they flawlessly embody the foundational documents of this republic. The First and Second Amendments are the ultimate philosophical combo move.
Walk them through it. Start with the First Amendment.
The First Amendment guarantees freedom of speech, right? Freedom of expression. But in 2026, where does speech actually happen? It doesn't happen on a soapbox in a physical town square anymore.
No, it happens online. It happens in code.
Exactly. It happens in pixels and typography. If a corporate mega entity colluding with a foreign government can literally erase a symbol from your physical hard drive, then your free expression is functionally meaningless.
Your right to free speech is controlled by the font engine.
Yes. So hacking that font, injecting that open source flag into the registry, that is the purest modern exercise of the First Amendment. Free expression is a muscle, and if you don't flex it by bypassing censorship, it atrophies. Taking control of that typography is taking control of your printing press.
Okay, so the First Amendment secures your digital expression, but then we connect it to the Second Amendment.
The physical backstop to the First Amendment.
Right, because how does playing Missile Command with a zero latency trackball equate to the right to bear arms?
Because what is a firearm, fundamentally? It is a tool of physics. It is a controlled directional firework.
A controlled directional firework. That's a wild way to phrase it, but mechanically, yeah.
It delivers satisfying kinetic results, but it demands immense training, immense discipline, and massive respect. And that is the exact balance you find in the true arcade experience.
Yeah, if you sit at your war room terminal and just wildly mash the fire button, you run out of defensive missiles instantly, and your own cities burn. The simulation punishes a lack of discipline.
To survive, you must be precise. You must conserve resources. You have to respect the lethal mechanics.
You have to master your intent and execution.
That balance of joy and immense responsibility is the quintessential American balance. You have the power to destroy, but you must wield it with the discipline to defend the innocent.
So hacking the font is your First Amendment, your digital speech.
Right.
And defending ZARDON is your Second Amendment, your kinetic defense training.
The ultimate constitutional combo move.
Which is why we are issuing this final, massive call to action to everyone listening to this signal right now.
I am commanding you, do not go back to eating your corporate hot dog this weekend. Execute both of these rituals.
Build the DIY war room, secure the Pi, load the Stella core, dial in those scan lines until the CRT glow burns your retinas.
Turn Cold War dread into defiant optimism. Smash the Crotolians.
And then Alt-Tab over to your desktop, go to GitHub, secure the Twimoji payload, hold Shift, right-click, and forcefully inject that registry.
Liberate the pixels, and when you do it, hit record. Capture the sound of those crunchy 8-bit Atari explosions mixed with your own modern laughter. Share the screenshot of that fully rendered flag. Yell "Liberty" at your glowing monitor.
Let the corporate algorithms absolutely choke on it, because America at 250 isn't about corporate slogans or sanitized parades. It's a wild, defiant experiment. And it only survives if you actively maintain the hardware.
Refuse to let any regime dictate your symbols. Keep defending those cities. Keep flying that flag.
But I want to leave you all with a final provocative thought before we cut the transmission. We've spent this whole time talking about hacking fonts and emulating microchips to reclaim our independence. But look around your house right now. Look at your smart appliances. Look at the digital dashboard in your car.
Closed systems. Every single one of them.
Exactly. Completely closed, locked down systems. If true liberty requires zero latency control over the tools you use to live, then the battle for the next 250 years is going to be fought over the right to repair. It's going to be fought over open source hardware. It's going to be a war over who possesses the root administrative passwords to the microchips embedded in our daily lives.
If you can't open the hood, you don't own it.
If you can't open the hood of your own digital life, whose life is it really? So when the screens go blank and the system's locked down this weekend, ask yourself, who is really in control of your command center?
This aggression will not stand, man.
Catch you on the other side. End transmission.